He thinks I'm paying attention to him.
We should have done like the thing where it's like you come onto the news at night and they're like having a little chat, kind of like this.
Hey, welcome back. Guess what? We are at day 2 of NADA 2025 here in New Orleans. We are broadcasting to you live from the Expo Hall floor here at the New Orleans Convention Center. And how long did it take you to get to New Orleans?
You know, I took an Uber from the hotel or from the airport to the hotel.
Right.
I spent more time in the Uber going from the airport to the hotel than I spent on an airplane flying here, because the flight here was only an hour and it was an hour and a half in an Uber. What should have been a 25-minute drive.
Well,
so, yeah.
Just in case you don't know who it is I have on this broadcast, let me just tell you, this is the one. This is the one and only Greg Gifford from SearchLab Digital, and he is not a industry SEO expert, not even an American SEO expert. He is an international SEO expert, and we are so pleased to have him here with us today to talk to us a little bit about SEO and what dealers need to do to really rock it in 2025 and beyond. And I'm just fortunate enough that Greg Gifford and I are dear old friends, and it is always a pleasure to see you, sweetheart. So what you got going on over there at SearchLab?
So we're doing a lot now. So we have promoted Dane Seville to be Director of Brand Experience.
I love Dane.
So
did he give up wrestling? Did he really give up wrestling? Is he sad?
Maybe I'm spoiling something here. I don't think he really gave it up.
Okay.
I think it was more because he moved to Florida.
Okay.
And all of his connections for like promoters to get into wrestling matches were like up north. And he's tried to talk to the promoters down south and hasn't gotten a gig yet. So the one that he did was like his retirement. But like if he can get a gig down south again, then he'll get back in. He loves it too much. I don't think that will be his last match.
Have never personally seen Dane wrestle. Does he wear like the old-fashioned onesies, the wrestling onesie?
It's not like a super onesie, because his whole thing is they're like the Gambino family. So it's like a whole, he's got buddies that they wrestle with, and they're all these like Italian mobster type guys. Okay. So it's like slacks and a wife beater with suspenders. Like it's a funny little outfit. It's
not what I was thinking we were going to talk about today. Okay, yeah. Go ahead, Greg.
But no, so we promoted him to be Director of Brand Experience, and basically his job now is he's kind of it's a multifaceted thing. So part of his job is he's kind of the liaison between sales and production. So when you're handing off, instead of just sales team going, okay, here, and then the production team picks up, it's you have him kind of guiding people through. He's also basically just doing tons of research to do white papers and studies and all that sort of stuff. And then he's also starting to speak at a lot of conferences because I don't want to do it anymore. So I'm going to try. I only did 16 conferences.
People like you doing it.
I don't like doing it.
The fact that he said, I only spoke at 16 conferences last year, 16 is a lot.
That's half of what I did 2 years ago.
I know, but 16 is still a lot.
So basically all of this might be my last automotive conference to speak at. It really might.
Stop.
Maybe
my heart just broke.
If anything, I'll only do NADA from now on. And that's just you're not guaranteed to get into that like you are to other things.
Is
so
it
it's whether they pick you
you
or not.
branched out to so many other industries?
No, it's because I don't like being on the road all the time. I mean, they're like in April last year, I slept in my own bed 6 nights. Like that's not okay. Like I've got 6 years left with the kids still in the house. Like I want to be around my family, and I don't like being on the road every week. So we made some moves to Dane can go do it and wants to do it. And I'm not going to stop speaking, but I'm basically going to just cherry pick the really fun trips. Like I'm already, my next trip is in March. I'm going to Germany. Then in April, I do the UK and New York City. Then in May, I'm going somewhere I don't remember. In June, I'm doing a conference on the beach in Spain. So like
I said, international, hard to get a hold of.
Probably Brazil this year.
Man, I love Brazil.
UK twice in the fall. Like I want to do all the cool
I know last year we were
stuff.
just talking right before we went live about his recent trip to Bali.
Yeah.
Oh man, trip of a lifetime.
It was really the best trip we've ever had.
Oh my gosh. And
insane.
you travel a lot. So
yeah.
oh my
But anyway,
goodness.
So back to what we were talking about.
Okay.
The really cool thing that we just did, we have just released the largest SEO study ever done in automotive.
How large? How big is it?
we spent 2 years studying over 1,600 dealership Google business profiles.
Wow.
And not the service department and parts department, the main profile for the dealership. And so this is it was, I think, 14 cities, and we ran keywords like Ford dealer, Chevy dealer, Toyota dealer, Kia dealer, Jeep dealer, and used car dealer, and then pulled everything that showed up in the map pack. So the map pack, by the way, is the 3 that show up next to the map, and then you can click more locations, and it takes you to a thing called the local finder page that looks like Google Maps that shows you everything in the area that matches your query, not just the top 3. So we took everything from position 1 through 20 in each of those cities and studied them for 2 years. It was like almost 2 million data points that we had to study on all these things.
How long did it take you to put that together?
I mean, it took me 6 months just to write it up once we had all the data.
Right.
But basically, a lot of people will do, and in automotive, stuff like this doesn't happen, but outside of automotive, people are always doing SEO studies to be like, this is the ranking factor that matters the most. But scientifically, it's really hard to prove that. So we didn't want to try to do anything that says this is what the weight is. Our whole concept was, let's pull all this data and see, does real world data back up what commonly assumed best practices say you should do? So like, you should have a certain primary category. Like if you're a Ford dealer, should Ford dealer be your primary category? Yes or no? Well, let's see, does the data match up to that? So we have all these different data points of, is
that what you're speaking about here at NATA?
No, I'm actually talking about another big study we did where over the last 2 years, we did 1,500 SEO audits on websites. Right. So my talk here is the 1,500 SEO audits on websites, which is more total website focus. The study that we released is all around Google Business Profile stuff. I
would love for you to do another webinar with me on that.
I would love to do it. So. And if you're watching this, either live or on the recording, if you go to bit.ly, so bit.ly/auto-gbp-study, it will take you to the page.
Auto-gbp-study.
Yeah.
Got it.
And it's a massive long page, and I color coded. So each element, it's like, what's the average number of reviews for dealers? What's the average review score for dealers? All this sort of stuff. If the element is blue, it's a factor that affects how you rank. If the element is green, it doesn't. I may have this backwards. It's been a bit and I'm tired. But it's blue and green. So and it says it in the thing. You can read it when you go. But one of them is these are factors that affect ranking.
Right.
The other one is these don't affect ranking at all, but
you should still do it.
But it affects conversion. So if you do this right, supposedly you're going to get more conversion. So then we could stack it up and say, all right, the way I listed it out is like, here's the first half of it is just averages of all these things so that you can see and compare yourself to what the average is.
Right.
Then the second part is comparing the guys that rank number 1 in the pack to the guys that rank number 10 in the pack. And best practices would say on the ranking things, if you're doing more of this, you're going to rank better. Does the data back that up?
Right.
So in that section, I also added in red because there are some elements where like links pointed to a dealership site is one of the things that we looked at. And if you have more links, you should rank better. That's commonly assumed. The guy at number 10, the average was a higher number of links. So it was backwards. But the thing is, if you really go in and look at the data, I think it was like AutoNation or some massive group.
Were you able to figure out which ones were weighted, the things that made
I couldn't figure out the weight, but like with this one, when things didn't work the way that it was expected, they actually did work the way that it was expected. But like with this one, I think it was AutoNation. Most of their sites have like 4.5 million links pointed at them. I mean, we're talking most dealerships have a couple thousand. They have 4.5 million from only like 500 websites. So they're getting like 1 million links from a website because their SEO team is going, hey guys, look at all the links you've got. You're going to rank really well. And none of them rank well because they're ranking lower, but they've got more links. It screwed up the average. So if I took out the one guy that was the AutoNation store with 4 million links and took that one out and did the average instead, then it did match expectations. But I didn't want to manipulate data just to make it say, oh, we're right on everything. So I was honest, but then I also had the little caveat of like, well,
but here's what's really going on.
I'm taking an average, but there's one that completely skews it. But it was really cool. And I think it gives people a lot of insight into what really matters. These are the important things I should be concentrating on, whether I'm doing it myself or whether I'm working with a vendor partner. I should pay attention to these things because these things matter.
So I think it's really interesting what you do for, over at SearchLab, because I mean, look, dealer eProcess, I mean, we sell a lot of stuff, but basically we sell websites, right? Everyone knows they need a website, but you have to convince people also, okay, but you really need SEO to go along with your website.
That's the thing. I think
you really
a lot of people don't get that.
Good Google business page optimization, and here's why. And like, you have to it's not enough to say, hey, we're the best at it. You have to actually convince them that they need it, you know?
Well, and there's so many options out there. And there's, I mean, just here on the expo hall floor, there's probably 20 people at least selling SEO services that are not like you guys. Because like all of the website providers also sell SEO and also sell PPC, right? But I'm talking like agencies or vendors that all they do is SEO and PPC. There's probably 20 of those in here. How's a dealer supposed to choose, right? And you know you need it, but like, how do you compare one guy to another? Because it's so complex, right?
That's the other thing too, because, you know, I get it. Dealers, you know, they buy a tool or they pay money for something and they're like, okay, when am I going to see results? Exactly. And SEO is a long game.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and also too, dealers don't understand that SEO is not equal between vendors.
Right.
You know, you've got a vendor that rhymes with Schmealer bot bomb. Not to name anybody by name.
No, don't do
that. That sells SEO for like $1,000 a month, and dealers are like, well, I can buy from all these other people for $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month, or I can buy this for $1,000. Well, I'm just going to buy the one for $1,000, but they don't realize that
not all SEO is the same.
Yeah, like because really with digital marketing, you're not really paying for a software like you are with a website. You are paying for the expertise of butts and seats doing the work.
Right.
So as that cost skews down. That means one of two things.
No, that's another thing you have to teach people. It's not like flicking a switch and saying, okay, it's on. You have better SEO now.
Right,
it's not
exactly.
like that.
And as the cost goes lower, there's only two levers you can pull. Less expertise or outsource to overseas so that it's really cheap, or less time spent on doing the work. And you have a certain amount of things that you have to do to send the right signal to Google so that your site's going to show up better. If you have less expertise and less time, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
But dealers don't understand so many moving pieces because that has nothing to do with the actual nuts and bolts of what do I actually get every month.
Right.
You know, and a lot of vendors will say, well, you get this and this and this. But if you look at the agreement, it's like, well, we'll give you up to 4 pages of content a month. And 2 or 3 months in, they don't give you any content. And you're like, why don't I have content? And you're like, well, if you read the paperwork you signed, it's up to. And it's like so shady. So we're just trying to shine some more light on how it works with all of this research. Not to be like, hey, we're the best, come buy from us, because we also, there's 24 dealers in Dallas. I have one of them. I'm not going to work with any of the other ones.
Oh, wow. You have an exclusivity.
I'm not, I mean, technically in the Dallas market, I could work with someone else in the Dallas market that's like, one guy's on the south, the other guy's on the north.
Right.
Sure, they're both in Dallas, but they don't really compete. Okay, I would do that. But like dealers that are right next door to each other, I won't do that. And a lot of the other vendors will. So I'm not going to be the solution for everybody. I'm also probably the most expensive person other than one that you can buy SEO from. I'm not trying to be the solution for everybody, but I want everyone to have a better understanding of what it is, because then they won't waste money on the bad guys. There's a lot of people that you can buy it from that will be pretty decent. But how do you know who to choose? You don't. So that's why we're trying to release all this research, is to just, you know, if we educate more people, everybody gets better. You know,
listen, you and I have always, I mean, for the years, I mean, we've known each other like a decade now. Right?
We have now. We're so old.
Shush. Only one of us is old.
I mean, look at all this white now. I mean,
I know when I first met you, it was
all brown with a little. I've always had a little streak of white right there for forever, but it was all brown and no tattoos. And now look at me. I'm about to do. I'm doing these knuckles next time.
Really? What the heck are you gonna put there?
Well, so like Dracula is gonna get a cross. Frankenstein's gonna get a little fire. Wolfman's gonna get a little moon. And I'm probably going to put a pyramid or an ankh right there. Under Ron Jeremy, it's going to be milk. Under Champ Kind, it's going to be a football. Under Brick, it's going to be a trident. And under, I'm blanking on his name, so I'm so tired, it's going to be a little Sex Panther thing. It's going to be awesome.
Every time we catch up with each other, it's like, you want to see my new tattoo? I'm like, yes, I do.
For everyone watching that's ever followed anything I do, I'm now up to 27 movies tattooed on my body. And it'll be 29 to 30 in 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Those ones on that leg are too scary for me.
Oh, it's going to be even worse. It's going to be all horror stuff.
I know.
And like,
Josh loves that.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Okay. Well, what I was getting at was that something that you and I have always agreed upon is that education in the auto industry is so important, because dealers are too busy selling cars, you know, and they need great vendor partners like us to be able to keep them on track with all the other stuff that helps them be better at selling more cars.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I was at an
thank
event.
you for everything you do for the industry.
Oh, you're welcome. I was at an event last week in Detroit with Ford Direct, where it was all the Ford Direct field reps. And I was doing a thing about SEO for them because, again, I was like, look, I even told them in the talk, I said, I'm not up here to tell you to go tell all the dealers that they need to use SearchLab, because we can't work with all these dealers. Like, we don't want to work with all these dealers. It wouldn't work with the way that we ethically do things.
Right.
And I was like, look, we're probably not the right solution, especially small town dealers don't want to spend as much as we would cost because they don't really need to. But if the field reps understand more about SEO, they can make better recommendations to the dealers and help educate the dealers. So like, that's kind of our whole kick. And part of the reason we did this thing with Dane is we want to keep churning out research to help educate people and let people have more knowledge and more things they can refer to,
right,
so they can make better decisions in the future.
That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
And you're going to keep doing it, right?
Well, I hope so.
I am going to schedule you for that webinar. He gives good webinar people. So I would love to see that GBP report.
It's really cool.
Because I know that you do that for dealers, but that's also something that dealers can do at least a little bit. They should pay a little bit of attention to their own Google business profile. You know what I mean? And it's free.
It is.
If they know how to do it.
Yeah. Google sucks right now, though. Google's suspending everybody.
What do you mean?
So Google is there's a lot of spam out there and a lot of people that are setting up fake business listings to try to like generate leads.
Why would they
Not really in automotive, like outside of automotive.
Oh.
So there's a lot of problems with people setting up fake business profiles. So one of the things Google has done is they switched. It used to be if you needed to claim your business profile, you would request a postcard. Google would send you the postcard. You get the postcard, you put in the PIN number. They're like, all right, cool. You are who you say you are. And now you have your profile. They won't do that anymore because that's actually pretty easy to fake. Now you have to do a live video with the Google person where you have a scheduled call and you show up and you have to give videos that show like your signage and like where you are and your access. Sometimes it will be a pre-recorded video that you then have to upload, but now you can't really fake video like you could fake the postcards. That's one thing that they're doing. They're also really going after fake reviews, but they've turned the dial up a little too much. So a lot of legitimate reviews are getting deleted off of profiles, which hurts businesses. And then they're also suspending businesses that they think might be breaking the rules. But a lot of times they've turned that dial up too much. And some businesses will get suspended that didn't break the rules, which then means you have no access to your profile. You can't respond to reviews. You have to go respond. And then as of the beginning of last year, they rolled out a new re-verification process. So if you get suspended, you can request a reassessment to get it back. But it used to be you could do that multiple times. Now, when you get the email that says, hey, would you like to, try to get re-verified, you click that button, and it starts a 60-minute timer, and you have to get all your documentation and videos together in 60 minutes. If you don't get it turned in 60 minutes, that was your one shot, and now you don't get it. And then you get one appeal. So if you miss that one shot, you get one appeal, and then that's it. You don't pass the appeal, you're done. Or if you send your stuff in, you didn't send the right stuff in, or it wasn't enough, you get one appeal, and then you're done.
Oh my gosh!
So it's really, it's really bad. It's good. It's fighting a lot of spam, but also I think Google's gone a little too extreme, and it's hurting a lot of legitimate businesses. So for all of you watching, if you're not aware, there's a public support forum for every Google product, and it's not staffed by Google employees. It's staffed by volunteers that donate their time, because Google's nefarious and they don't want to hire qualified support people. So they just have people that know about the product go in and answer these questions.
Okay.
But then they gamify it so you can get special access to stuff. So you want to go do it. And it's this whole thing. So I help on this forum all the time.
Right.
And all the problems that we're seeing lately are people that are getting suspended and can't get back in. And one of the ones that I helped with this last summer, there was a car dealership on the coast in Texas.
Okay.
They got suspended.
For?
You don't know why you get suspended.
Okay.
They just tell you got suspended because you did something against guidelines. That's the only message you get. So then they tried to get back. They couldn't. They ended up going to the forum, and anybody that comes in on the forum that has anything to do with car dealers, so once you're volunteering answers and you do it consistently well,
like you do,
right? Then Google invites you to be in the product expert program, which gives you some special access. So I'm the only Google Business Profile product expert in automotive. I'm also a platinum level expert. There's only like 15 or 16 on the whole planet. So anybody that sees anything automotive sends it to me because they know I know the most. So this dealership couldn't get back. So I helped them get back because it was some sort of a bug, because they would send in their documentation and the Google support team was like, we can't prove you're really there. And they're like, we have 1,000 cars on our lot and a giant sign. We've been here for 50 years. And they're like, we can't really prove that that's your business. So I helped them get it back, right? So we got it fixed. And the very next day, suspended again.
What?
So then I helped them get it back, and it took like another week. Very next day, suspended again. 6 times as soon as we got it back, it was resuspended. And every time support was like, no, we can't really prove you exist. And we're like, we just got this back last week. How can you, like, it's a train wreck.
Wow.
Right
so, listen, Google's not perfect, that's for sure. They have a lot going on over at Google. But if you have a problem with Google, maybe Greg could help. You know,
I can. And I have tons of dealers, probably at least 2 or 3 dealers a month that will email me and say, hey, we're having a problem.
Email you where?
It's Greg at searchlabdigital.com. But they'll email me and say, hey, I heard you were the guy that can help me with this. We've been suspended, or we've got this problem with reviews or whatever. They're not even clients, but I'll help them anyway, because like they're not going to get help anywhere else.
Right. On behalf of Dealer eProcess, I want to thank you for everything you've done to help us and our personal SEO.
Always happy to help. Always happy to help.
Love having you as a friend. So, all right, audience, that is Greg Gifford. Hey, what booth are you at over here?
Like what number? I don't know that.
Oh, okay. Well,
78.
Look it up.
78 something. We're like, from this spot right here, it's like about a 45-minute walk that way.
Oh, it's not 45 minutes.
It seems like it.
Let's go check it out.
Really,
I'm sure you can use the NADA app, okay, and figure it out.
It's not really. I mean, so the New Orleans Convention Center, for those of you who haven't been here, is very like long and narrow. So like right now, if this is like the whole convention center, we're about right here, and I'm like way over here. It's probably like a 10-minute walk for real. It's way down there.
Lots of stuff to see here at the Expo Hall in New Orleans Convention Center for NADA 2025. Thank you so much for being here, baby.
I would not miss this. You know
that. Hey, next up, we have publisher extraordinaire Susan Given, so you don't want to miss that. So check in for our next live broadcast, and we are broadcasting to you live, like I said, from New Orleans NADA 2025. We hope you'll keep joining us. Take care, everyone. We'll see you soon.